Hey, what's with the Middle Eastern music? And what are you doing with the lamp?
I'm trying to get into the right mindset needed to rub the lamp to get the genie to come out. You know the whole thing.
It's not possible.
I'm gonna make it happen.
It's not possible.
Well, I hate to embarrass you on your own show, but I think we've all seen the movie Aladdin. It came out in 1992. Perhaps.
Yeah.
You missed it.
No, I saw the movie, but that was a cartoon. It wasn't a real thing.
No. There was a real genie and there was a real lamp, and you can't stop me.
It was a real movie.
From rubbing this lamp.
Not a real story.
Because I'm wishing right now for a man to appear who has the ability.
It's not going to happen.
Take reclaimed junk and old 1960s Suburbans and turn them into tables.
It's not going to happen. Nothing that cool exists.
Oh,
You got to be kidding.
look, it looks like it's a genie.
What?
Genie.
No.
Yes, in your face, Clay.
Hello, I am the genie. You've awoken me from my slumber. How can I help you?
Well, I'd like to cash in my 3 wishes here.
Typically, you get 3 wishes, but right now I'm on a union break and I will give you 1 wish. So, what is your 1 wish?
I want you to find me a really cool company that produces modern furniture from both new and recycled materials. And I want the founder of the company to be named Joel Hester.
I will grant this wish to you, but you will need some business ninjas to guide you down the path. And now I must have an ice cream bar.
Boom! You are now entering the dojo of Mojo and the Thrive Time Show.
Thrive Time Show on the microphone. What is this? Top of the iTunes charts in the category of business. Drilling down on business topics like we are a dentist. Providing you with mentorship like you are an apprentice. And we go so fast that you might get motion sickness. Grab a pen and pad to the lab. Let's get in this. It's time to bear some fruit like some Florida oranges. 3, 2, 1. Here come the business ninjas.
Sonic boom!
Oh, yes.
So
and
good, so
yes.
good.
See, it is ecstasy when you are next to me, and I understand that you actually went outside behind the man cave here and moved some of the rocks, thus completing the man path. So now people don't have to get their feet muddy.
Let me explain real quickly to the Thrive Nation the jackassery that I have encountered the last half a dozen times I've come to the man cave, i.e. the Thrive Station.
Yes.
And that is, it was always, he's doing construction, Thrive Nation's backyard. He's got his new pool. He's got his new double decker man cave outside areas, to run around and do his thing. And so it's been muddy. They haven't completed the side yard, gravel or paving or whatever to get up to it. And so he finally got tired of it and had all these extra rocks and laid this beautiful path from the driveway up to the back patio. Except he made it about, 3 people could walk abreast of it. I mean, it's lovely. It's nice. It's wide. The rocks are laid out.
I was trying to be resourceful.
And then it stops.
Yes.
About 4 to 5 feet to the patio. So you still got to walk through the mud. So I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I'm going to repurpose some of these rocks. You don't need 3 abreast as you're walking in here, unless you're a Roman legion marching to battle,
the tectonic plates.
So I picked up a half a dozen of them, that were 3 wide.
Yes.
And I put them in front to where now, I mean, this is going to blow your mind. You can now actually walk on rocks and not mud the entire way to the back patio.
Z, if I would have called Weld House, the guys, the genuine metalworks heroes here, if I would have called them, this project could have been done a long time ago. But I didn't. But now we are calling them. On the phone, we have Joel Hester, the owner of Weld House, and we have Krista Turner, the operations manager. Krista and Joel, welcome onto the Thrive Time Show. How are you?
Doing great. Thank you.
Good. Thanks, Clay.
Hey, real quick, your website, weldhouse.com, if everybody out there, if you don't do anything else as a result of this show, go to weldhouse.com, like you're welding, like you're a welder, a house, like you live there, go to weldhouse.com. Check it out. Joel, what's the story behind this company, man? How long ago did you start it?
Officially, legally, we started about 9 years ago. That's when I quit my day job and went full-time building furniture. When I moved from the Dallas, Texas area out to Phoenix at the same time as starting the business. So it's just pretty humble beginnings from 9 years ago.
Why did you move from Dallas to Phoenix?
Part of it was a change. I mean, I was born and raised there in the Fort Worth, Dallas area, and just I was in my early 30s and just ready, I guess late 30s at that point. But anyway, just ready for a scenic change.
It's just a number.
My kids were super tiny at the time and just wanted to move out west for whatever reason. I just gravitated to the west. Couldn't quite make it all the way to California, but Arizona is where we landed, and really, I love it. It's a great state. The weather is perfect. It's either perfect or swimming weather, so I'm down for both of those.
Your work is incredible. If you go to weldonhouse.com
really
and you
is.
click on galleries, he's thinking about buying stuff right now. You got coffee tables.
I love the old Trans Am. It looks like that Trans Am thing on a hood. You know, is that what that is? That's super cool.
And what they do is they take old stuff, repurposed stuff like rusted vehicle parts, old things you find,
awesome.
and they turn it into really awesome furniture. Joel, when did you first start, finding obscure random crap in a junkyard and turning it into art that is just gorgeous? When did you start doing this?
I was asked specifically by a particular client that I was building a bed frame for, and he wanted a coffee table, but his one request was that I use a small, I'm not even sure that it was metal, but it was a beer sign from his college days, and he wanted that somehow grafted onto his coffee table. And it from what I remember, it was about the size of an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, not even close to helping me build a coffee table, but he was insistent, and he was very insistent. And he was like, "That's why I'm paying you for. I want you to figure it out." I'm like, "Well, this is so thin metal. I'm not even sure it's metal. It's got paint. It's rusted. It's just a mess." And I tried to get out of it, but he forced me to find a solution. So anyway, as I finished his bed frame and his dining table, I finished everything else, and I was anxious to get paid, but this coffee table problem just it would not go away. And so anyway, I had never been to like a scrap. I mean, I was welding at that point. I was building things out of new steel, but never recycled. And so because he kind of put the screws on me and the pressure, I was looking for an answer. And so anyway, at this junkyard in the back, I just remember at the back property line, there was an old Cadillac. And when I rounded the corner, the rear trunk was huge, and it had super cool old paint. And it never did solve my beer sign problems, but it gave me an idea of cutting that metal off and using that to wrap this coffee table. And I was kind of prepared to flush the guy and just take a loss on it, because I still couldn't satisfy that beer sign, but I proposed the idea of cutting the skin off that old car, using that old paint to wrap the top of his coffee table, throw some new clear coat on it. And that was kind of the genesis of what took this from a hobby to a unique product that's kind of opened a lot of doors for me.
Can you share with the listeners out there, the companies that have hired you throughout the years to build stuff for them? I mean, because you're working with the who's who out there. Tell us some of the big companies. Name drop all over the place.
I don't know. They've all been super fun, and they all caught me at various stages of professionalism. I kind of look back at some of the things I built, and I'm like, oh, that is so bad. But I really liked my interaction with Honda. They wanted a conference table, and they liked the old metal, and they wanted Honda everything. And I'm like, well, time out. Your cars, your paint, do you like all the patina? And they're like, yeah, we like that. I was like, well, your paint is really good, and you don't see Hondas with demolished paint, do you? And they're like, no. And I was like, okay, we're going to use Chevrolet sheet metal for the top of your table, and we incorporated some Honda camshafts as part of the base, and it turned out really good, and I enjoyed working for those guys. I never did really get any good final photographs of that project because I waited till the very end when we were installing it, and we couldn't take cameras into that place. It was an R&D facility, and so that was a lot of fun. We're currently building a whole lot of restaurant furniture for Raising Cane's across the country. Those are all old sheet metal.
Looks so good.
So good.
Look at that, Kendall. Look at get a camera shot on that. That looks awesome. Just great stuff. Now, so how did you determine that this was eventually going to be a business? I mean, what point did you look up and say, you know what? Yes, this is an art form, but this is also a business. I mean, when did that thought occur to you, or has it ever occurred to you?
I think it occurred in two phases. The first phase was my day job was printing, like printing press type stuff, printing words on paper, pictures on paper, and I was welding and doing well. But as the years went on, I just kind of foresaw that, the printed word on paper was kind of going away with the oncoming of everything being online. So that was my first looking at the furniture through a lens of actually, could I do this full time if printing doesn't work out? Of course, I made that jump, but then also after I was full time, even making kind of an adjustment to not be the one man shop that everything's like just in my head and I'm like in the woodshed just like whittling away my widgets.
Yeah.
When you operate like that, if something were to happen to me or happen to my health or happen to anything with that business model, my family and my kids' future is screwed. So while I was having fun, I felt a little selfish operating with that business model. So there just came a point in time that I really wanted to try to get more of a true business mindset. And, I'm like the least qualified person to do that, but at least recognizing that I wanted to be successful, whether I'm able to come to work or not, for the sake of my crew, for the sake of my family. So my business, looking at this endeavor through the lens of business, has kind of evolved as just time's gone on. So I hope that answers your question.
No, this is awesome. So Krista, do you help kind of rein in Joel the artist, or how would you describe what you do as the operations manager working with Joel Hester here, the founder of Weld House?
So I would say that I help rein in Joel in many areas. He shows up for work basically 7 days a week, and he's always here and he's always busy, and his creative mind can get him into trouble in some aspects of just being working on more than one project at a time. So I help Joel with just maintaining the daily business, the production, keeping the crew on task, questioning Joel with what he has going on so that he can stay focused, and really just trying to operate Weld House as an efficient business. And that is still a learning process daily.
Yeah, I mean, this is fun. This is fun. It's like you work directly with Willy Wonka. So let's say I'm on weldhouse.com right now, weldhouse.com, and I'm saying, okay, Zim, you know this, my wife and I are in the process of building a house.
Oh, yes.
And a new office, and you actually are moving into a new place. You moved into a new place.
Oh, yeah.
Let's say that you and I have decided, you know what? What better way to share my love for Dr. Zoner than to buy him a custom table? Okay, so I work with Amy to find out things about you. I call you guys up over there, and I talk to you, Chris, on the phone, or Joel, and I say, my main man loves horses. He loves American history. He loves horses. Big Dallas Cowboys
I love
fan.
talking in chat rooms late at night, long walks on the beach.
Whoa.
Oh, sorry. Oh, wait. Whoa, wait.
Very active
sorry,
on AOL. Very active on AOL.
Okay, I'm embarrassed. Nobody heard that, right?
Right. Absolutely.
I was thinking that. Did I say that?
No,
okay,
I just picked osmosis.
Woo, okay,
so
good.
if I were want to then hire you guys, what does it cost to build a table that seats 8? Or what's the process like? Walk me through your process there, Joel, from an artistic perspective, but then also from like just a financial perspective. How do you determine what you're going to charge me?
I think the process really begins with you would reach out on the phone or email, and we would schedule a quick phone call, and just a lot of our knowledge that we have, because we have built many different things for many different applications and styles, that we just try to be all ears and listen. We try to get photographs from the client so that they can send kind of the environment that they're living in, because we can kind of just pick up, the vibe of the home. So that when we can make an offering to them, the suggestion is we want to meet their needs, but we want to give them the most for their money. We want to choose a size or a material, or if I know, because we have built conference tables or even dining tables that I knew they were going to put on the third story of a brownstone in New York City, and they have no elevators. They have nothing. That's not an easy task. And so we try to design with all things in mind, a solution that meets all needs, from building it to actually living with it, if it's going to be used indoors or outdoors. So really the customer drives, their needs drive many different things, from building to shipping to maintaining it for years down the road. As far as an eight-seater dining table, those, normally those are going to be made from many smaller pieces of metal that we will flatten and seam together with our techniques to give you a large surface there. And those you can incorporate many different colors and patterns. They're always a lot of fun. There's one vehicle in particular, like a 60s Suburban, that the roof is long and big enough that we can make a one-piece tabletop, but those are like super hard to find and rare, and you kind of don't get your color choice. So I buy everything that I find that's anything like that. I mean, we pretty much buy everything that we can find anyway from a recycled metal standpoint, but for a lot of times what drives the price on those larger tables is just the style base below it, but you could have anywhere from $3,500 to $10,000 in a table. Just kind of depends on many factors. I know that's a big price range, but
This is great. And then, so how long does it take to get the table back?
We're currently 12 weeks out for custom projects.
Okay, and so you've got this is so exciting. Somebody out there is
Joel,
going,
I've got a question.
Cool.
Can you laser an image on the metal and then laser, or put an image on? So like, if I wanted to get a table for Clay's new house, and I wanted to have him and like Tom Brady and Bill Belichick like doing a man hug, the three of them together, could you laser that on a table? So is that possible?
We can permanently put it on there to where it will never come off.
Oh, yes. That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
That's beautiful.
I think I just got your next 3 Christmas presents all wrapped up together. That's nice. That's nice.
So now, for people who are out there who are saying, this is a cool business, but there's got to be a lot of detail. I mean, yes, you're an artist. You come up with this idea. How do you go about keeping your team on time with deadlines? Like, do you have like a morning huddle with the team? Do you huddle every day? Do you have a weekly huddle? How do you keep the projects on time?
We do have a daily huddle. Just after lunch, we gather to go over any projects that are working through the shop, making sure that the crew has everything they need to continue with the production, the daily production. We, at that time, discuss any of the other pending business topics, or just keeping the crew updated with either safety procedures or team building events, anything that we need to discuss with the team as a whole.
How many people are on the team at this point? Do you have a team of dozens, or you have to have very skilled people?
I think we're at 9 people, and we need to be at probably 11. We've got a couple of openings, so we're currently at 9.
What is the vision for metal, or for Weld House? What do you see the future as being?
We want to make money.
That's crazy. Oh my gosh.
What?
You capitalist, you. Oh my goodness.
Well, so far it's been. I don't want to grow. I'm not super interested in like a number, or. I just want to build a good product, and I want to be like diverse. I want to have business from a variety of different sources to have some hopefully diversity in revenue streams. But at the end of the day, I just want to build a business that can operate for the most part on its own. I would like to have products that have a reputation for being well made, and a group of people who really can be, sole breadwinners for their families and have insurance, and I want to be the type of company that can fire on all cylinders and be a good place to work, can challenge our crew members and offer training so they can get to the next level in their pay scale or their next level of things that they personally want to accomplish from a craftsman standpoint. So I don't know, the subjects are just so big and so many that it's when you really start trying to map it out, it's kind of mind-blowing. But anyway, we want to be profitable and just make a good product.
We have 3 final questions for you. We're coming in hot. Rapid fire.
Oh, yeah.
Z, rapid fire. I have a
let's
question.
get after it.
Then Z's going to one-up me with a question, and then Josh
It's
will
gonna be
one-up
glorious.
both of us
It's gonna
with a
be
question.
glorious. It's gonna be
My
glorious.
my final question I have for you is, what cool projects are you working on right now? And if you can, name drop another big company you've worked with. 'Cause I know you've worked with you got the Honda.
Honda.
You got the chicken people there.
Canes.
Canes.
It's called Canes.
Canes.
The chicken people.
And then who else is a big company you've worked with in the past? And what's a big project you're working on now?
Starbucks, PIXAR.
What?
Wow.
Right now we are working on art pieces that will go in the Westin, their new location in the Gaslamp District in San Diego,
Wow.
California.
Sassy fun.
So we got Slim Chickens. I know them. That's impressive. I'll give you a mega point for that.
Yeah, that's a mega
you got
point.
PIXAR. That's a mega point.
That's a mega point.
Starbucks, mega point.
Have you heard it? What do they do? What's their
PIXAR. Starbucks?
Starbucks, what do they do?
I don't know what
Is
they
that-
do. I just
I
hit the
don't
button. I was
know.
used to hitting the
Yeah,
button.
I mean,
Honda?
Sounds impressive.
Honda? I mean, these are big. This is some big stuff going on here. What question do you have here? And you feel free to paint him into a corner. Joel loves being painted into a corner.
Joel and Chris. I mean, if you go back to the beginning when you say, you're this gentleman actually almost forced your hand to stumble upon this business. And that's a great story that so many entrepreneurs kind of start off that way. If you could go back to those early days, you're like your first days. I mean, you're struggling trying to get this guy's beer sign into a whatever table and do that kind of thing. If you could go back to that point and talk to yourself, what would you say to yourself?
Run. go be an engineer. No, I'm just kidding. No,
I know you are.
You know, part of this, I feel very fortunate because this was like a level 3 hobby behind drag racing cars, racing mountain bikes. This was like the lowliest thing. And when I started and I ordered that welding equipment, it was like a New Year's resolution one year to like try to do something creative with my hands. And
Wow.
I just tinkered in my garage at my apartment, which is probably totally freaking illegal. But I had years and years and years of just, and I never quit because it interested me, and it did gradually start knocking my other hobbies off the map as it grew and grew. And but I had so many years, and my boss who owned the printing company was super gracious. He was a creative type. He did a lot of painting, and he gave me space in one of his buildings to weld, and in exchange for that, I would like to do welding projects for the printing company. And so many years went by that I didn't have any self-imposed time frame to like be successful or make money. It was just a pure incubation period of getting good at my craft, or at least putting myself in a position to be good, so that when an opportunity like that job happened that caused a light bulb moment to cause a chain of events that made me believe that maybe this could be a real business. I had those years of preparing. I admire people who make a decision that they want to do something and they intentionally go get trained to do that. But I think those people run the risk of putting time frames on themselves that they don't give themselves enough time to really come full circle and become good, but also have the time for an opportunity to present itself, because opportunities present themselves all the time, but until you're ready, you can't take advantage of them. So I just had the blind luck to do this long enough to get good, to have an opportunity, an idea hit, because original ideas are so few and far between. It's like writing a hit song. I've got, it's just things worked out. And, but so I don't know what I would say to myself any differently other than
just keep on keeping on, huh?
I try to look back and apply those same those same, just, I don't know. I try to learn from that and apply that to the challenges that I'm facing today on how to grow and how to, I'm put in positions that I'm not, because I'm not welding. I weld very little anymore, and I'm not working, and I don't go to work and work in my strengths as much as I want to. So
yeah,
that's
a transition from a job to being a boss, from ownership, right? So, you're an inspiration. There's a lot of people that are going to be listening to this podcast, this radio show, and they're going to say to themselves, I've got a really cool hobby, and I'm hopeful. I'm thinking I might be able to make a living out of it. Real quickly, inspire them, tell them something, give them something, give them some hope, give them something that they can take away from this show and say, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to try. I'm going to get after it. I'm going to take this hobby that I've been doing and go for it. Give them something, Joel.
Well, I mean, all I can give them is that, the free market economy, the free enterprise system, the market will tell you whether your idea is viable. Because if it's cricket, you need to try something else. But if you have traction and you have a good response, then that's super important. And how you proceed from there, I would just say, have a ton of patience, cut yourself a ton of slack. Don't force a success timeline on yourself, because you might struggle for 4 years, but at year 5, big things were coming, but you pulled up the anchor and you cut ties. So I would just, a good idea is going to be a good idea. So just stick with it, but put in a lot of effort and just get started. And don't put a time frame on yourself. Just
Joel, how did you get your first 10 customers? Was it on Instagram or marketing via online, or was it all word of mouth? How did you get your first 10 clients?
I think my first 10 clients probably came as a result of me taking a photograph of the one piece of furniture that I built back in my teens. And the only time I ever welded was I welded the bed frame together in my teens, because I didn't have any money. I didn't have any furniture, so I built a bed for my first apartment. So I thought it would be a good idea to take a picture of that bed frame and put it on Craigslist. When I say online and people are like, ooh, that's amazing, I'm telling you, I put it on Craigslist. So it's not very glamorous. But I suspect that my first 10 clients came from Craigslist, and they were just locals. And I want to apologize for the things that I made them, because it was probably really bad. They were my,
you got to start somewhere.
They paid for my education, so thank you.
All right. Now, okay, Josh with Living Water Irrigation, you get to ask Joel the final question on today's show. And I know everybody out there, if you've yet to do it, check it out right now, weldhouse.com. That's weldhouse.com. Mind-blowing custom furniture that the good folks at Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers have used, that Starbucks has used, that PIXAR has purchased from, that Westin has purchased from, that Honda has purchased from. Now, Josh Wilson, back to you in the booth.
Hey, Joel, I think I heard something really, really powerful early in our conversation, you and Carissa, and if I'm understanding correctly, so Carissa handles the day-to-day operations, more the business side, and you as the owner are handling the artistic and the vision, and if I'm wrong on that and you hang up on me, that's okay. But I think there's a lot of listeners out there, a lot of business owners out there who need to hear that and to understand, hey, go do what you're really, really, really good at, and you can defer those other things over to people who are much stronger in other areas or other aces in their places. Is that accurate, Joel, of how y'all handle day-to-day?
Yes, absolutely.
And that's actually how we started with the Thrive Time team. We came to a point to where, I started with Joel and I had no idea what I was getting myself into. Literally thought maybe I was going to be helping out around the shop to fill some time and monetary needs. But it has evolved, and we got to a point where I sat Joel down and said, hey, I want to help you run this business, and I'm interested in knowing what it takes to be an entrepreneur, and I want to help you grow Weld House. And hey, by the way, I've been listening to this podcast, and I really think that we should give him a call.
Real quick, I was going to tell you, Joel, you would have been proud. She was taking notes so furiously and so intently
that her notepad was starting to heat up, and it looked as though she had a welding gun there, Joel. I mean, she was. Telling you, a lot of people come. Some people come to conferences to kind of slack off. To go on a little vacation. You were taking some copious notes there, Chris. I mean, seriously, Joel. I thought she had a welding gun. We almost called a timeout to check if she had one of those welding torches right there.
She is 100%. I don't know how she does it. She is just the reason why we have been, if we are at all successful, it is truly because of her. And if we're going to be at this next level, it is 100% because of what she brings to the table. There is no doubt about it. You obviously recognize it.
No,
yourself.
She's a honey badger. Krista, what drives you? You are such a driver. You had great questions at the conference. I mean, you were you were a woman on a mission. You still are a woman on a mission. What's driving you?
I just have a passion for anything that I really am involved in. So, there are days where we struggle, and it is very difficult to get through a week just operating. And a lot of it happens that way because we're not being diligent doers or following along with the schedules that we have outlined. And when we allow our weeks to go sideways, I want to pull my hair out and wonder, why are we doing this? Yeah. But what drives me is that, we have something that has a lot of potential. And I am motivated to make Weld House successful and to help Joel grow in any way possible. And I walk away with the reward when a client is happy and leaves us a Google review or, has positive things to say. So they give referrals to us because our stuff is cool. And like Joel said, I agree. I want to continue to build cool products, but I also want to make a profit and make all of this worthwhile for everyone here in the Weld House crew.
Man, I tell you what, Z, I love it when people turn their passion into a profit center.
Absolutely.
That is exciting. Josh, you had one final question before we have to interview our next incredible guest.
Real quick, Kristen, I know you mentioned it earlier and you guys were kind of stuck, so I know Dr. Z and Clay will never go into this, so we just will, and we'll pretend like they're not here. So what would you say is the biggest factor or biggest improvement, or, I mean, I'm sure we could have a show about this for hours and hours, but the biggest change for y'all since you started coaching with Thrive and with Clay and Dr. Z's program?
Well, it has made us more accountable. Even on the weeks where we get a little sideways, we have a base to go back to, a starting point of how to be organized, and we have a focus on what our next steps are. And that is very beneficial to us because we're being held accountable by our coach on a weekly basis, sometimes twice a week or more. And we really get the support when we're in a position where we just don't know how to make the right moves, from kind of tweaking the hiring process and doing weekly interviews. We've met a lot of great people and have had some good successes with that process. But all of those processes that Thrive Time, the coaching program offers, the reason why we started with Thrive was because I said to Joel, hey, I want to learn how to grow this business, but I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm going to go find people that do. So just having someone to bounce ideas off of and truly just being held accountable is, the biggest contribution to our daily, weekly focus.
If you're out there listening today and you feel the way that I would feel when holding a welding torch, Joel, is that what you call it, a welding torch?
Yes.
If I were to hold a welding torch, I would feel scared.
But alive.
Alive?
And like a man.
I'd be excited. Like, I have my hands fired.
Finally, I
might
feel
kill
like
myself.
a man.
But, oh no, what's this blast shield? I should take this shield off while I'm welding. What is it? And if you feel like the way that I feel, if I were to do welding right now, if you feel that way when running your business, we got a problem. You shouldn't feel like your hair's on fire at all times. And I would encourage you to get out to a workshop, do what these guys did. And if you're out there and you have the financial capacity and the tenacity needed to go to weldhouse.com, go there today. Buy yourself some custom furniture. Be like the cool kids at Starbucks and PIXAR and Westin and
Canes.
Canes.
Hey,
and
Joel,
Honda.
one last quick question.
Quick.
Since you're an awesome welder, can you build me like an Iron Man suit? I can fly around and do really cool things and do all that. I mean, you could do that, right? Because it's just welding, right?
I think I'm going to put a limit on that one.
Oh, there's always a fun hater out there.
dream crusher.
Oh, man.
We have some very talented painters, so we could get you a coffee table, some artwork, anything with.
Well, you can't fly
Dallas
around with the coffee
Cowboy
table.
stars all over it.
Okay. All right. I'll just have to suffer through a coffee table, and I can't. An Iron Man suit would be so much cooler. By the way,
Joel and Chris, I appreciate you so much. And in all sincerity, if you're out there and you need great, unique, awesome, office furniture, something that is unique, something you can't find anywhere else, you want to make your office a place where people want to come to work, check out weldhouse.com. And Z, without any further ado, are you prepared to end with the boom?
let's boom it up, baby.
Are you prepared to bring the boom there, Josh?
I'm ready, sir.
Krista and Joel, are you guys prepared to bring the boom?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Here we go.
All right.
3, 2, 1,
Boom!
There have always been people who don't believe. They don't believe in hard work. They don't believe in responsibility. Ultimately, they don't believe in themselves. They believe in shortcuts, in luck. They believe that outside circumstances control who succeeds and who doesn't. It's just the luck of the draw. But you are not one of these people. You believe that no matter what your circumstances tell you, success is still possible. And you accept this responsibility because you want to achieve something great. You're hungry for it. You chase it from the moment your eyes open in the early morning. You chase it into all hours of the night when others have given up, when others have said that it couldn't be done. You've kept pushing because you believe that success is not a game of chance. Success is a choice. A choice that you make every single day. That's what you believe.
Discover the world's most affordable and effective business school today at thrivetimeshow.com.